Morning, everybody. Yes, my schedule is at 6:05, but it just gives me 5 minutes to ensure that everything is okay. And because I was up from like very early, I ended up coming in at 6 o'clock. Exactly 6 o'clock. So it's another morning. It's another morning in Jamaica, wherever you are. And it's 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's another morning where we are getting a little chilly from the cold air blowing in from North America. So and this will be like this for about the next month or so, and then we'll end up into a little bit more, nice warmish temperature. Right, Jamaica have what you call wet and dry season. So we are entering into the dry season, and that will last for about 3 months. Okay, so thank you for joining me this morning as I share in another topic. Remember, we're not doing, I'm not doing any lecture series this year because most of my topics that I would have done will be shared in my live. All right, so this morning we're looking at large aquariums versus small aquariums. Um, so a few months ago, there were a few months ago, if not probably a year or more, um, there were several channels having a drive for the spotlight for popularization, if there's such a word, and for the whole movement towards monetization. So as a result of that, there was this drive, everybody doing this monster fish thing, right? Yeah, man. From 2018, well, 2019 coming over into 2020, everybody was talking about monster fish, right? Monster fish aquarium, large aquarium, right? Several fish tubers even went to the what do you call it? Ohio rescue facility, and they created a lot of interesting interactive videos as they actually um, participated in either feeding the large fish or catching a fish or contributing a fish to the oil. Okay, okay. So oh, they're getting a message from my wife. All right. So a lot of persons, I won't call any name, lest persons feel that I'm actually hitting at them. But a lot of persons were like, you know, they they were into this monster fish fever, right? And surprisingly, this monster fish fever have actually died. This morning, I share some advantages in keeping large. I'm not going to look at the negatives. I'm just going to look at the positive. Well, positive for each. Positive for large, positive for small aquariums. Probably the next morning I can look at the negative, right? Or look at it in more detail because in looking at the positive, I'm going to have to look at the negative to some extent, right? All right. I'm not sure whether or not the stance on YouTube with regards to how animals are treated because of late there have been several laws that has forced YouTube to actually change the terms and their policies regarding oh hey, what's up, nice seeing you, GRB Aquatics. Nice seeing you. This morning we're talking about uh large aquarium versus small aquariums, right? And we're gonna flesh out some of the arguments that support you keeping large aquariums and support you keeping small aquariums, and you're left in the middle to decide which of the best really applies to you. Right. Okay. So we're talking about, just start. talk about the whole idea of they had this what you call monster fish fever between 2019, early 2019 over to 2020. These have actually tapered down a little bit. Not much persons actually emphasizing um uh what I call it, large aquariums these days, large fish, monster fish. So YouTube actually started to take down some of these videos where they had this monster fish feeding frenzy. Where they actually people were actually feeding monster fish, whether it be rabbits, um uh, small animals, other fish, and it was just looking so bloody, and a lot of animal rights activists actually stepped in and wrote YouTube, and the law that governs how animals are treated came in, and all of that tapered down a little bit. A lot of videos were taken down. Nevertheless, regardless of the so-called monster fish madness spanning from 2019, 2020, there are some favorable reasons why large aquariums are preferred than small ones. No, so here are some of my arguments with regards to large aquariums, right? Why I would choose having a large aquarium. To be honest, um, large aquarium well stocked, not overstocked, is 10 times more pleasing, more pleasure, no, what you call it, no, more pleasing to the sight than small aquarium. That is the reason why you usually see a large aquarium at hotel, at the dentist, at the shopping center. Now, these aquariums give you a kind of serene feeling. It's like being at peace. You go to the dentist, and kids are afraid of the dentist. So one way to get the kids calm is to put something there that will have their attention. So a very large aquarium with peaceful swimming fish in it kind of brings this different feeling, right? Especially one which is well lit and colorful with decoration, and the right fish species is actually there. Hey, good morning, Jamaica career travel guide. Nice seeing you. Nice seeing you. Respect. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why a large fish aquarium would probably be in my corner. Now, another reason why large aquarium do get my attention is that it is usually cheap to purchase. Now, some persons might open their eyes wide and say, no, 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 that is not true. But listen the full statement. It is usually cheap to purchase. Um, well, not really cheap to purchase. Like small aquariums are more expensive than large aquariums. Large aquariums are expensive. However, it's more easier to maintain and to purchase the items for maintenance. It might, when you measure up how much you spend per year, you might find that you might spend less on large aquariums in comparison to small aquariums. This may sound funny, right? Well, listen. To my reason, you see, it's not because the a small tank makes it nearly impossible to have. It's not because a small tank necessarily make it impossible to have a healthy fish and plants all the time. You have to test the water almost daily by an expensive filter, add fish or plants when some die, and so forth. You have a lot of aggression in the aquarium whenever it's small, and it's totally different from when the aquarium is large and you have this look and you have this feeling. All right. Um, Continuing down with regards to why I think that large aquariums can go in the plus column for me. Large aquarium is much easier to maintain because the upkeep is not as demanding as it will cost. It it will cost, right? You don't have to change water that regular for large aquarium in comparison to small aquariums, right? You don't have to be going in the tank that often because a larger body of water. requires minimum care, because you're gonna be stocking it right. So therefore, it's not gonna be overstocked. It's gonna be stocked properly. So therefore, it's gonna take a longer time for all of that to occur. But with small aquariums, you're gonna probably have to do some water change on a regular basis and filtration mechanism. Any okay. So the next possible reason is that, of course, it gives me more option to add more fish, and not necessarily large fish, just more fish. Now, a lot of persons believe that beauty within a fish tank comes with the large fish, but that's not necessarily true. Medium sized fish and small fish can also give a serene look within your aquarium. Now, it pains my heart at times when I have to get rid of fish, primarily because I'm out of space before time. You know that I trade fish, I sell fish, but sometimes I have to give away fish because they are actually breeding profusely, and my ponds are small and I have smaller aquariums, right? So I have about 250 gallon totes in which I use to keep the larger fish. Now you may have to decide early not to keep your fish for breeding, primarily due to the limited space that you have in the aquarium. Now, with large aquarium, space is not an issue. As long as you remember, for every 1 inch of fish, you need 1 gallon of water, you should be okay. And a lot of persons say that this rule is foolishness. But if you check the levels, you really understand that this is actually the way to go, right? If you want a healthy fish tank. Now, on the other hand, you have to choose to start your aquarium small, just to see how well you are prepared. Now, if you are a novice or a newbie in fish keeping hobby, you are not. It is recommended that you start off with a medium-sized aquarium. I wouldn't say large, and I wouldn't say too small, because very small aquarium also requires a lot of precision in care, maintenance, and the works, right? Um, so you need to check to see the maintenance, if you can manage it and all that. Just be cautious and not to overpopulate the tank. And this is one thing that a lot of novice fish keeper, first time fish keepers tend to do. And then now they complain that they are unable to sustain an aquarium for very long. All right. So we're moving down. I think we're moving down really quickly, right? I'm on just at about 13 minutes, and I'm at probably about number 4 regards to large aquariums. As to why large aquariums are primarily within my corner, as let's say I would keep within my house. Now, happy and healthy fish, right? A large aquarium encourages happy and healthy fish life. Now, based on research, based on my research, my experience, because I have a large pond, as I said before, right? And based off what I have seen, persons have actually shared with me anecdotally, right? It has been proven that most fish tend to be a bit depressed or stressed when kept in small spaces, right? I have seen where fish that never normally jump, right? Within my system. Yes, you might say that my system is a pond system. My system, the ponds are small, but fish that never normally jump in my system, whenever I sell them to persons or trade them, should I say, with persons, they complain that the fish are actually jumping out of the aquarium. For those persons who just start off, never remember to put on a lid, and it is important to note that although I mentioned medium and large fish, even the smallest of fish need large volume of water. Now, uh, it is just really cool, right, for you to observe fish swimming in large aquariums. However, um, let's talk about a little bit about the volume of water. Now, just imagine how they feel if you put them in a small crowded tank. Smaller size tanks may produce what you call more ammonia from the fish itself. Yes, the fish waste, the nitrates, and the ammonia dropping, the pH get messed up. Um, and as a result, the water chemistry is out of whack. You find that your fish are not coloring. You find that your fish are not breeding. You find that your fish have parasites, have disease, getting sick. And you're wondering why is this happening? And my neighbor who has the same fish but in a larger aquarium, everything is going on much, better. Now, since the volume of liquid is smaller and does not allow for these toxins within the water, whether in the waste, yeah, and even in the drift food that you might have in your aquarium. Drift food, if not boiled, it have what you call um tan- tannic acid, right? The toxin actually disperse much as larger tanks, right? That if you have a lot of fish in a small tank, your fish will be more likely to be poisoned from the fish waste at a quicker pace than if you have your fish within, let's say, a very large tank, right? All right. So as a result, your fish get sick and may either die or you might be spending a lot of monies on fish medication, right? And I remember, the main purpose of you actually um getting that fish tank is for you to be relaxed, is for you to enjoy fish, like enjoy the fish swimming. It's like you're being next to nature. It's not for you to every minute you see something that's not looking right, you have to be running to the vet or the pet store, whichever you find it more convenient to actually acquire med for your aquatic species. Right now, large aquariums, another thing that we should look at, large aquariums are ponds, decrease aggression. Now, some fish, when you put them together, and this might sound strange, but it's true. Some fish, when you put them together in small aquarium, they will fight to the death. Example, a beta fish. Did you know that if you have, let's say you have two beta fish and you have, let's say you have a 180 or you have even 100 gallon aquarium, you can place two beta fish within that 100 gallon, yeah man. And they will actually have enough space to have their own territory, and the whole aggression that normally plays out between two male beta fish will actually subside because the tank is very large. Remember, beta fish lives in the river, right? In nature, they are not jarred up. So nature don't jar them up in small spaces. I saw a video a few months ago where a well-established fish keeping channel was talking about the housing of betta fish. I thought that this was a little bit extreme, and I never thought that this was really called for, because it actually sends a wrong message and a tone to persons watching, where this person were actually sharing the best sides for betta fish. The person actually took a small aquarium, placed it on a space, and actually took a hammer and actually um smashed the aquarium, right? And the argument was that the beta fish tank that is being sold in pet shops, right, in fish stores, are not suited for beta fish. These tanks um are like, what I call it now, it's like just a recipe for the fish to die. I think that was an overkill in doing that. I don't think that's really, that's really good. On my hand, persons might disagree, person might agree with me, but it's neither here nor there. It's just my expression. That's how it is. His expression, right? But the smaller the aquarium, the less aggression you will have within your aquarium space. A lot of the time you might have a situation where you have what you call a quote unquote boss in your aquarium. One of the reasons why you have a quote unquote boss in your aquarium is because your aquarium is small, right? Yes, you might say that you have a 55 gallon, but it is stocked out. based on the amount of fish that you have in your aquarium is considered small, right? So if you had, like, let's say a 180 or 150 or 125, and you have the same stock of fish, chances are you wouldn't have any bass in your aquarium. It's just that that fish that you refer to as the bass for the aquarium would practically have a section in the aquarium that he actually calls his territory, while other fish have other areas in the aquarium in which they call their they own as their territory. As a result of that, you find that everybody is living okay, right? All right. So we continue. We continue. Large aquariums. Another thing that we must note, right, is that large aquarium allow your aquarium fish to actually swim more freely together, and it helps them to ignore one another. Thus, they live in more peace and they live harmoniously, right? And if you prepare your tank, a large aquarium in such a way where in which you have the substrate suitable for one particular fish on one side, substrate suitable for another type of fish on the other side, you find that that will encourage the fish species to actually maintain the course over the individual sections of the large aquarium. Thus, the whole aggression that will normally play out in let's say a 55 or 75 or 70 gallon that is stocked like how you stock it, right, will not play out. Okay, I think I'm talking a lot. I think I'm talking a lot, but I continue. I will be finished probably before the 60 minutes is finished, right? So let's look at another reason why I think large aquariums is within my corner. No, more opportunity to add more plants. You know, nature have a way of displaying beauty. And one way in which nature have a way to display beauty is with plants. Is this serene look, this natural look, having this awesome array of plants, based on the substrate that you might have within your aquarium. A very large aquarium encourage you to decorate it and it really looks awesome with a lot of plants, a lot of rockwork, substrate. It gives the fish opportunity to hide, yes, because you have some fish that are shy, and to actually breed. Now, many, and I talk about breeding in a bit. Many plants can fit in small aquariums, but they do they look good? Do they look as bright and as wonderful as let's say within a planted large aquarium? They do not have enough light and nutrients, and often some fish bite the leaves as far as plants in small aquarium. So as a result, a lot of persons have to be replacing the plants in small aquariums because the fish practically don't have any space. So there's like everywhere they swim, they see this thing hanging out in the over their face, so they just take a bite at it. Now with large aquariums, you can add any plant you want. Indeed, it will look amazing. Now you can play with different textures, right? As I said before, you have different types of plants that you can place in. For those persons wondering, what kind of plants I can place within my aquarium, I did a series a few weeks ago where I look at some common plants used within the hobby. These plants span from as far as Europe to I think I have someone from Russia and North America and myself in Jamaica. So you can check out that series. It's awesome and it's informative. No, no colors. No, as far as colors are concerned, plants give the aquarium a natural look, a natural flavor. And if you add a few plants in the front of your aquarium, um, and larger ones in the background, instantly your small box of glass will become spectacular. And when I say small box, I mean like the large aquarium, but it is a small box in comparison to the world, right? Okay, large aquarium do offer this, right? So let's look at the whole idea of suitable breeding environment. Suitable breeding environment within large aquariums. All right. You can allow your fish to reproduce within the large aquariums. As I said at the initial stage, sometimes you have these 55 and 25 and 35 and 20 and even 75 aquarium, which I still call small, right? And your fish will probably have an issue breeding because of how you stock the fish. You might find that the fish might you will never see flies, right? If you have a very, let's say you have a 150 or a 200 gallon aquarium with plants, right, and a nice substrate, right, with caves and or with rock work, you'll find that the fish will more likely find it more conducive, more spectacular. Um, for example, angelfish, they find it more, I call it pleasuresome in actually reproducing in large aquarium space, right? Aquafunk did a video. Um, Aquafunk did a video the other day when he was talking about angelfish. How much angelfish within one aquarium space? He was talking about frequent asked questions about angelfish. Remember, angelfish doesn't go horizontally; they go vertically. So when mentioned that you will have probably about two angelfish in probably about a 55 or something there about. Some person's mouth was like, oh, for real, those fish are like, you get them very small, and why is it that you keep such small amount of it? Remember, the angel really get as wide as your hand. So if you plan to keep them for long and you want them to breed, you would first you would actually, and I'm going into something which I'm not familiar 100%, just based on watching Aquafunk Aquatics channel. I was able to grasp a little bit, and I have a few for myself, right? You would get a bunch just like how you would get Oscar. You would place them in a space, and you do frequent water change, feed them high protein food, observe them, and at a point in time they will actually pair off themselves. As soon as they pair off themselves, you actually remove the extras and you leave the couples for themselves, and they will actually breed in that space. So they like large spaces to actually reproduce, and when they reproduce, you're talking about hundreds of flies here, right? So the large aquariums do allow you to handle the breeding of fish species, right? And than small aquarium. The female, as far as the angelfish is concerned, will lay the eggs on the surface of the water, on the surface of the on different surface within the water, right? And fertilize them, and in a few weeks the babies will appear. Now, question: do you think that they can handle this in a small aquarium, in a small tank? No, I don't think so. Now, where there are 10 other fish, right, there's going to be a lot of aggression. There's going to be a lot of predation, right? There's going to be a lot of problem, and probably they end up be a lot of dead fish. Now, even only for this experience, it is worth the investment. And when I say experience, I mean the whole idea of keeping fish for the mean. Hey boss, yes. What's up? I thought that you were like snoring. I never know that you were on. All right, so we're talking about you know, small aquariums versus large aquariums, and we're talking about the whole idea of we're talking about the whole idea of keeping fish in large aquarium. Is it like a good thing, or is it like a bad thing? You know, owning a large aquarium would be a delight of mine. There are more advantages to owning a large aquarium than disadvantage. But we look at the disadvantage at another day, right? So I shared it to you a while ago. Share with the audience. All right, share with the audience a while ago. that you have some really positive take on having a large aquarium. So if you can invest into a large aquarium, that would be awesome. As a fish keeper, as someone who really delight in seeing nature right within their the confines of their very own place of residence. So I have looked at possible reasons why you should consider large aquariums. Now let us look at small aquarium. Now consider this. Consider this. Um it can be very difficult trying to fit, and this probably might even this might probably even apply to Aquafunk himself, right? It might be difficult for persons living in apartment complexes, for persons living in high story buildings, right, to actually have a 180 or a 200 gallon aquarium be taken in or be built for your bedroom, right? It or should I say going up the step. Whereas if you might probably have a story house and you would like to install 180 or 200. It's really difficult, right? Small aquariums can be a delight, and it's very easy to install and set up, and when you're ready you can actually move it from one area to the next. If you feel as if hey, all right, Javi. Cool, cool, cool. Enough respect. All right, cool, cool. All right, so we're talking about small aquarium now. So you have to give kudos to persons who do keep small aquarium. Small aquarium easy to set up. It's a delight to look at, and when you're ready, you can actually just take out the water, siphon the water, and you can move it to a different room. So you can actually change the scenic settings of a small aquarium very easily. So that is one of the advantages of that is one of the advantage of having a small aquarium. Large aquarium really difficult to go up those steps. I see a video. I think I've seen a video where they actually custom built an aquarium, and it was a very large aquarium. I think it was Britain. I don't remember the other. I don't remember the series, what its name. But there's this thing I usually watch on Geography Explorer, I think so, where which they actually custom build aquariums for places, and they had this aquarium, and the aquarium they couldn't fit the aquarium through the door. They had to take out the window and had a special truck actually lift the aquarium through the window, and the aquarium was practically going through the basement. But I'm coming to that story. That is another story. All right. So let's move on to the number two reason why small aquariums might be preferred more than large aquariums. Now, some apartment owners, I don't know where you are at, but where I'm at, it's a single story area, and it's not an apartment complex. It's a self contained house, right? But some persons where they live, from the managers, the owners, are probably even on the lease. It restricts certain things, and one of the things that they might restrict is you having things within your house that have a particular type, particular weight, right? No, large aquariums might not be prohibited, might not be prohibited, might not be allowed, should I say, right? The weight of a full large aquarium may spell disaster for someone trying to install one. No, let's say that a living room space which have a limited space regarding the location of this super large tank, right? Small aquarium pose little or no threat to both the flooring, that of course the flooring of the apartment, right? It might break. Remember, 1 gallon of water equal 1 pound, right? 1 gallon of water, 1 pound. Sorry, eight pound. Small aquariums are easy to manipulate temperature. Right, right, right. I'm getting to that. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Small aquariums are more easy to manipulate, especially for breeding. But I'm getting to that. Let me continue the point where I'm at. So Funk, you're right. You're right. Small aquarium do help you to manipulate certain situations. For example, let me just pause where I was looking at, and let us look at what you made, the suggestion that you made, from, in the fact that I had some corridors, right? And for those persons wondering how you breed this curry catfish, how I normally breed it is actually I breed them. I normally get some aquarium water, place into a little bag, and I put it in the freezer, right? And then so it would turn ice. And then I would place the bag of ice into the aquarium itself, right? And then as soon as the water get cool, probably about 2 or 3 nights, I'll do this. And so I would actually have to be observing the cory catfish. And then now I would see eggs. So cory catfish loves when the temperature is very cool to lay their eggs, right? On the other hand, you have other fish like probably the live bearers. They prefer warm water. So therefore, you can actually adjust the temperature very easily, as Aquafunk says. And then no, you are able to actually get your fish to reproduce. And if you're in a business like what I am doing, in the sense that you're actually trading aquarium fish, you'll find that it's very, very pleasuresome, because you end up with a lot of fries, and you end up with more stock to actually trade in the future, right? Also, as Funk said, you catch Funk trying to catch those fries from his chocolate cichlid. If he like get a pair, and they do breed, but he has them in a 200 gallon, right? And the fries are there, and he's trying to catch the fries. I can guarantee that he might miss a few. Right, in a small aquarium, let's say a 55 or a 70, yeah, you might say that 70 is large, but to me it's still small, right? In a 55 or a 75, it's much easier for him to actually catch those fries, and to actually group those fries in a specific aquarium for them to actually grow out and become awesome fish, and probably trade them in the future. Because when you look at the whole idea of keeping fish, you're talking about the whole idea of breeding fish also. It's more, to me, it's more delight for me, actually breeding aquarium fish, than actually just keeping them and just looking at them. I like to see when they procreate. It gives me a sense of accomplishment. Now, as far as small aquariums are concerned, right? Now, the location, it might pose a problem, right? It might pose a problem, although it cannot divide the room, but it might pose a problem in the sense that the flooring of your house might be compromised, because, as I said before, one gallon of water, aquarium water, is equal 8 pounds. So can you imagine if you have a um 200 gallon aquarium on, let's say, the second story, right? In a very, very, what I call it, well, the structure, it's not like in Jamaica where everything is made up of concrete, but the structure might be compromised, because you're talking about 8 times 200, so you're talking about 800 pounds of weight actually sitting in one corner for a prolonged period of time. So you know what's going to happen over time. You're going to have to, well, probably before you get that large aquarium, you would have to do some structural changes, in the sense that probably you would end up place extra beams over that side, and you would have to keep checking to ensure that the structure, the flooring, is actually safe. Now, large aquarium is usually installed within the basement, to be honest, right? I have seen a lot of persons. I won't call their names, because I don't want anybody to feel as if I'm picking on them. And this is not a thing where, for this year, I am not going to be calling out anybody. This is all about education. This is all about growth. This is all about camaraderie. This is all about helping each person within the hobby to grow their channel and to grow as skillful individual within the fish keeping hobby. So although persons might be doing things that I might not agree with, but I just leave it, let it be somebody else's problem, not mine. Okay, so most of the persons install. Yes, 8.5, 8.5, right. So imagine you have a 200 gallon aquarium on the second floor, right? And the flooring already had a little issue, right? So you know how that's gonna be, right? After a while, it's gonna collapse if you don't maintain it, or you're gonna have to spend some money to actually do some structural work before you actually install it, right? Okay, so most large aquariums, most persons who show you large aquariums like a 200 gallons or a 250 or 100 or 125, they mostly have the large aquariums in the basement, right, where the flooring is actually concrete, and it is a preventative measure so as to prevent the flooring from actually collapsing, right? So practically the serene beauty and the whole pleasuresome feeling that you get from having a large aquarium, uh, from actually getting a large aquarium, is not necessarily observed on entering into entering into the house, because the main purpose of you putting up the aquarium, is to have this feeling. But because it is in the basement where you have to go downstairs now to actually observe it, it's like it actually negate the real purpose, right? So with a small aquarium, you can actually place it anywhere, from the kitchen to the bathroom to the living room to the bedroom to the foyer to the whole section of the house, even on the veranda. It depends on how your home is structured, right? Now, large aquariums, you have to have a purposeful location, a location that is built specifically for it, right? So it might just take out the vim out of that. And as I said before, well, Funk actually corrected me. 1 gallon of water equal 8.5 pound, right? So it's just something that we should consider when we're talking about small aquariums and large aquariums. Um, Remember that saltwater aquarium actually, well, well, I said before that 1 gallon of water equal 8.5 pound. However, be reminded that live rocks, or should I say, salted aquarium, weigh more, because the salt in the water actually give it a little bit more pounds, along with the live rocks that might exist within that salted aquarium. So on a gallon for gallon, salt water versus fresh water, you're gonna have your saltwater aquarium where way in having more weight than the freshwater aquarium, right? So we have to bear that in mind as far as pound for pound structure, location and all that. Now, small aquarium cost less. In terms of supplies for the tank alone, a large aquarium will usually cost more than a small aquarium. Larger aquarium will need more substrate. So therefore, instead of buying 2 bags of sand or 2 bags of gravel, probably you might end up buying 10 or 12. You have to buy a lot of lighting. Filtration is really expensive. The fish itself, you're gonna end up buying more stock. You're gonna end up buying a lot more stuff. What I said before with regard to large aquarium and maintenance, that's true, yes. Large aquarium doesn't really require as much maintenance as, yeah. Yeah. It adds up. It adds up, right? Large aquarium. It's not cheap to buy the filtration mechanism, but you, at the same time, as Fong says, it's like a trade-off, wherein it's a little bit. You don't have to do it that regularly. So with a small aquarium, let's say that you do water change every week. With a large aquarium, probably you don't have to do it every week. It depends on your stocking. It depends on how much fish is within the system and how large the fish is. You probably can temper. And some persons do water change like once every 2 weeks, once every month. It depends on the stock, and it depends on the size of the fish, right? One should consider, right? So as far as the costing is concerned, it will be easier for me to actually go into a store and buy an aquarium for 10,000 Jamaican dollars, right? It would be easy for me to do that. However, a large aquarium like 100 gallon, 175, 125, 150 gallon aquarium, that gonna run me something like probably 170 odd $1,000 just to purchase one in Jamaica. So you can figure that it's not easy money. It's like really expensive, right? So but as Fong says, it adds up when you talk about the amount of time that you're gonna have to actually spend to well, the amount of monies that you're going to actually spend to purchase filtration mechanism the small aquarium. But it's an argument that persons tend to try to weigh in as to the pros and the cons as to how it stands right now, whether or not they'll be able to do that frequent water change, whether or not they'll be able to do that frequent maintenance. You have a dentist, you have a doctor's office, you have the fire within with a hotel, right? They won't be wanting somebody to be there once a week with maintenance. Probably they would call like once a month, right? So therefore they would want a very large aquarium, nicely stocked aquarium, which doesn't really cause for maintenance on that regular basis. So as Fong says rightly, it is a trade-off, right? That we should consider. No, I know that this can be relative to several situations and style related to small aquarium, right? The cost of the aquarium itself and its equipment can vary. Now, you have cheap stuff, and I think I have a video coming out very soon where we talk about cheap stuff versus name brand stuff. Does it really make sense? No, you will see that video in a few weeks time. No, while you can generally expect the cost to go up proportionally with the size of the equipment, there's a lot of high end, high tech, or just plain fancy nano aquariums and equipment that are beginning to become what you call hot bread items in the whole fish keeping thing. So although it is said that small aquariums do cost less, but you have some nano aquariums that might cost a pretty penny, right? Okay, so I'm winding down. I'm winding down. I have roughly probably about 12 minutes, or yeah, about thereabout, and I wind down probably before the 6 minutes have actually ended, right? You can post your questions if you wish, whether in the chat or in the comment section, and I will be glad to actually answer them. If I can't answer them, I'll tell you and I'll point you to someone who probably can. Because as I've said in several of my videos, I am not the fountain of knowledge. I just do fish keeping, and based on my experience, I share what I have actually discovered and anecdotal what persons have actually shared. Now, stock in your aquarium. Now, you should take note that you can plan to add some fish species in large aquarium, and when you add them to the aquarium you never see them again. Right now, that is one of the disadvantage of large aquarium. Some fish species you will never see them again because the aquarium is so large, you have so much plants, the substrate is there, you have decoration, and you have the array of different things within the aquarium. You standing there looking for the fish, you probably will never see the fish again, right? Once you actually place the fish in the aquarium. Now, with small aquarium, you tend to be more, attentive. You actually see your fish swimming, and you feel a little bit more, a little bit more restful, knowing that you place a fish in there and you actually see the fish swimming. Unlike large aquarium where you might actually place a fish in the aquarium and you don't see the fish swimming. Now, let's look at another reason why small aquarium and it kind of contradicts what I said before, but with good reasonability, you can probably consider whether or not this makes sense. I'm talking about the whole idea of breeding fish stock. Now, the preparation of your aquarium for breeding can be really tricky, right? Now, some aquarium, and I think Funk actually shared some aspect of this. Some aquarium fish requires some adjustment in water chemistry, in water temperature, in chemistry, in water chemistry and water temperature, right? It is becoming a norm for organizations to set up large ponds as an attraction. I think aquariums within spaces, public spaces, give a sense of relaxation, and it gives a serene look. It allows individuals to feel one with nature, right? And because a person want their customers to be of their opinion that they are with nature, they tend to place large ponds within their establishment, whether indoor, indoor pond, or whether outdoor of the establishment, and even large aquariums indoor. I've gone to establishment in Jamaica like NHT, that is the National Housing Trust, and I've gone to Juicy Leaf Parties, and I've seen very huge aquarium. I mean, like 100 and something gallon aquarium with some huge fish. But I think that these fish need really good care though. The fish are getting too large for these aquarium. Nevertheless, person tend to love the idea of being around these fish. Although sometimes I wonder if the fish is wondering if I'm going to be next, because it's a dining, it's a food establishment, and they will be looking at the fish and consuming food. So anyway, let's continue. Thank you for that question. JCTJ Jamaica Career Travel Guide. All right, thank you for stopping by. All right, so in winding down, I was talking about the stocking. I know, as I said before, some no, I left the stocking and I came down to breeding your aquarium fish. It's easier to actually do the setup for the breeding for some fish species in small spaces than in large spaces. Some aquarium fish, for them to breed, it requires the chemistry of the water to be at a certain level, the pH to be set at a particular way, the temperature to be at a particular setting, for them to actually spawn or to have babies, right? And it's more easier for the fish keeper or the aquarium owner to actually manipulate the our boss. Yeah, man, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. It's more easier for yes, for it's more easier for the aquarium fish owner. Well, aquarium, yeah, fish owner, aquarium. The owner of the aquarium. Yeah, I'm trying to consider whether or not my language is good right there for those persons, especially those persons who are keen with the language part, right? For you to actually manipulate small aquariums for your fish to breed, just like what I said before with regard to the cory catfish when I was breeding them, right? I use the mechanism where I get bags of water from out of my freezer at a particular time in the year when the females look fat, as if she's ready to lay eggs. I will put the bag of ice within the water, cooling down the water, because sometimes the cory catfish might have eggs during the summer where the time is really warm, so the water is a little bit warm. So to get the water cool, I will put bags of ice in the water, let's say in the night, and by in the morning I would actually see eggs on the glass of the aquarium, right? And the next step would be to remove the parent and to allow the eggs to actually come to fruition. So that was my strategy breeding the cory catfish at that point in time. I eventually sold them and I moved on to other fish species. No, so it's easier for you to manipulate small aquariums for breeding purposes. Now, anyone can own and keep small aquarium. Even a fish bowl. Now, some persons might say that fish bowl is cruelty, and I've said that several times that I do not like the idea of a fish bowl. However, as it comes down to a fish bowl, I think it comes down to stocking as far as um how much fish you're actually keeping within a given space, right? It talks about the frequency, the maintenance, how you actually manage the little space that exists, that the fish exists in, right? So anybody can actually start out using well, having a small aquarium. However, um don't take the maintenance of small aquariums lightly. With small aquariums, you should be knowledgeable, cognizant of, right? It's important for you to know that small aquarium require a little bit more attention than large aquarium. Be honest with yourself. This presentation have you wondering several issues, right? If so, I did my job well, and I think probably you should watch and share again, right? I think I will share the flip side of this probably tomorrow morning, where I look at um you know uh the flip side as to whether or not, well, I will look at the bad side, should I say, of owning a large aquarium, and the bad side of owning a small aquarium, in the sense that disadvantage, advantage. So this morning I actually look at the advantages, right? And tomorrow morning probably I look at the disadvantages. Okay, so there's a little bit of change to my timetable. So I continue doing live in the mornings until probably about Monday, and then I'll do live only on Saturday nights. I'll be here at about probably about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll be here up to Monday morning, and for the rest of the month, I will actually be doing on Saturdays, Saturday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can catch me then. You can ask your question, post your question, regardless of whether or not you might feel that those questions um doesn't relate to the topic I'm doing. Post your question. Who to tell? Probably your question might end up be a topic for one of my mornings. Um, Derek from Deadfred 821 posted a question recently, since week, when I share with my audience, with everyone, that I placed some limestone rock in one of my ponds. Now, as you all know, limestone rock is high in calcium, right? So and limestone rock is a sedimentary rock. So over time, the limestone rock is expected to be degraded to to liquid, right? So it will end up allowing the water to become alkaline. So as a result of that one question that Derek asked me from Deadfred 821, I actually did two morning streams where I focus on one, the lowering of your aquarium pH, and two, the heightening of, well, increasing of your aquarium pH. You can check my list of streams on my channel, and you will see those shares. Now this morning share was inspired, strangely enough, by my wife. We As we were discussing aquarium size, right? So the topic actually came up then. So it's good when you actually converse, because some persons might say that, how is it that you're able to actually get these insightful topics, or these topics that have great interest, that persons will probably want to hear. This is just by anecdotal conversation, persons talking their experience, asking about situation, and in responding, I find that it's more appreciative when a share is done, explaining certain things. It's more detailed, as a little bit of research is actually placed in it, and you find that it's more appreciative, and things are good. This is really for another fish keep in Jamaica. I appreciate everyone for joining my stream. Join me tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as I share again in another 1 hour of live stream conversation on fish keeping, strictly fish keeping. Thank you very much. Peace out. Thank you for joining. Respect. Irene from the Rock. One up. Bye, guys. Peace out.